learners, I welcome all of you to today's lesson. Our new topic for today is about generations of computers. Yes, do you ever seen computers of late? You could see they are very small. You can put them in your pocket, in your bags, and off you go. Gone were the days they were never like that. They were actually very big in size. Yes, all these changes came about with what? Development in technology over a period of time. So we are going to understand this better when we look into our topic, which is generations of computers. So when we talk about generation of computers, what does it mean? It is what? The stages of development in technology or innovation over a period of time. So you could see that technology has changed in stages over a period of time. And those stages of development in technology is what we are calling as what? Generations of what? Computers. I hope that's clear. Those stages is what we are calling what? Generations of computers. Beautiful. So let's move on to look at what? The various stages of what? Development, which we are calling generations of computers, and see how many do we have. So the first one is what? First generations of what? Computers. And then we have second generations of what? Computers. We have what? The third generations of computers, the fourth generations of computers, and finally the fifth generations of computers. So we can now all agree that we have how many generations of computers? 5. There are what? 5 generations of what? Computers. I hope this is clear and well understood. So these stages of development, so from the onset of technology, we can now agree that technology development has gone through how many stages? 5, which we are referring to as what? The stages of development or generations of computers that we are calling in today's lesson. So now we are going to understand the stages of development in technology. At which stage, which technology has come? The first generation, which technology was used, and within which period was this technology invented and used? So the first one that we are going to look at is what? The first generations of computers. So it came within the period of what? 1940s to what? 1950s. And the technology that is being used that time is what we are calling what? The vacuum tube. So let's have a look at the picture of the vacuum tube. So this is how the vacuum tube looks like. Hope you can all see the picture clear. Wow, that is beautiful. So let's move on. When we talk about the first generations of computers, that we are saying that it was invented in the 1940s to 1950s, and they make use of vacuum tube. We can identify that they use what? They rely on what? Binary coded language, which means what? They make use of what? Zeros and what? Ones. I hope that's clear. They make use of zeros and ones to perform their what? Operations. So let's move on. We have some examples of computers which were invented using this technology, which we are calling what? The vacuum tube. So what are some of the computers then? We have the ENIAC, the EDVAC, we have the UNIVAC. So these are examples of computers. So we are going to look at how this vacuum tube were used on the motherboard of what? The operating system, which make use of what? The binary coded language or what we are calling the vacuum tube technology. So let's have a look at this picture. You could see this is what a computer that are using what we call the vacuum tube technology over here. So you could see them all mounted on the motherboard. This is another computer. You could see the vacuum tube fixed here. Yes, another. So you could see the computer is very huge to the extent of occupying a whole room. And then let's look at some characteristics of what the first generations of computers. So the first one is what these computers were based on which technology? Vacuum tube technology. And then these were the fastest computing devices of their time. Not our time today. It can't be compared, but those time we can agree that those were the fastest computing devices of their time. And then they are very expensive to operate. You're looking at the size. If you want to acquire, you must even have a space. You must even have people that monitor it with time to time. You can see, so operating it is very, very hard, expensive, and then they use large amount of electricity. Just look at how cumbersome the whole machine is. So it requires a lot of electricity to make it operational. And then these computers were very large and require a lot of space for installation. If you don't have a room space, you can't have one. You see, so these are all the features of the first generations of computers. And then lastly, since thousands of vacuum tubes were used, they generate large amount of heat. So essentially you must just once you have one computer using the vacuum tube technology, you must have accompanying air conditioning. So in a nutshell, today we have looked at what generations of computers are, the year during which these generations were invented. We look at the technology that was used in the first generations of computers, and finally we are on the characteristics of the first generations of computers. Thank you very much for paying attention. See you in the next class, where we'll go into the second generations of computers. Thank you. See you in the next class.